Merhaba, it's Can from Turkish, and today I want to talk to you about living in Turkey without knowing Turkish. So this video is going to be useful for you if you're planning to move to Turkey or if you're already living here. So I just want to tell you if it is possible, if it is not possible, and I want to give you better expectations. So the purpose of this video, as I told you, to help you have better and more realistic expectation when you're in Turkey. And I see that most foreigners have wrong expectations about how important knowing Turkish is. And when they don't know if Turkish people know English, if they can communicate speaking English only, it usually affects their life in a negative way. And I don't want you to have the same experience. That's why I'm making this video. So this video is for you if you're planning to move to Turkey or if you're already living in Turkey for any reason. Maybe it's because of work, maybe you're married to a Turkish guy or a Turkish girl, or maybe your son, your daughter is married and you're visiting them. So if you're planning to stay in Turkey in any city for more than a month, this video is going to be useful for you. Or if you visit Turkey regularly because of your relatives, or maybe you love to travel here. So this video is not for you if you're okay with communicating with gestures and Google Translate all the time. This is not for you as well if you don't leave your house when you're in Turkey, if you don't need to speak Turkish when you're here. If you're only talking to other internationals, other expats, then you won't need to watch this video as well. And if you always rely on someone who speaks Turkish, then you don't need to watch this video. And also, if you're visiting Turkey only for a week, then you can just get by with English. You're gonna be fine just speaking English. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Can, and I'm the founder of the biggest online platform for teaching Turkish to foreigners. We have more than 3,000 students, and my wife is a foreigner as well. So she's from Pakistan, and I had the opportunity to see how her life transformed after she learned Turkish. And I know the struggles she had before she knew Turkish as well. I also worked as an assistant at the international office of my university. My university was in Istanbul. We had so many Erasmus students, so many international students, and I helped them with their residence permit, with their visa, with literally any problem they have living in Istanbul. At this point, I probably have more foreign friends than Turkish friends. I think that's my unfair advantage. I want to talk about the expectations that most foreigners have coming to Istanbul or coming to Turkey. They think that, okay, Turkish people must know some English. I can easily communicate with them. They also think Istanbul, Izmir, Ankara, Antalya, these are metropolitan cities. I'm sure I'll be fine. So I'm giving these 4 cities as an example because if you're planning to move to Turkey, you're probably planning to move to one of these cities. And they also think that they will just use Google Translate when they need to. And they also think they have Turkish friends and they will get help from their Turkish friends and everything will be fine. So I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're wrong. And let me tell you why. So the reality is, even in metropolitan cities like Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir, the number of people who speak English is significantly less, considering the population of these cities. So the population of Istanbul is more than 20 million right now. And I don't have any data to back this up, but according to my experiences and my foreign friends' experiences, number of people who speak English is probably 1% out of 20 million people. So it's really, really less. And you will probably find much less people who can speak English than you expect. So this is the reality. And here's a research that I want to show you. This research is done by EF, English First, and they wanted to see the English speaking level of the countries in Europe. As you can see, Turkey is the second last. It got 47 points. So let's say you went to Italy or you went to France, Russia, and if you thought to yourself that people here don't speak English, it's going to be worse in Turkey. It's going to be worse in Istanbul or in any other city. So I want to show you a second research which shows the percentage of people who don't speak any second language in Europe, basically. And unfortunately, Turkey is the first 81% of Turkish people don't speak any other language other than Turkish. This research is done in 2016, but I don't think it changed much. So what's going to happen if you don't know Turkish? Is it really that bad? So let me show you. So it's going to be fun at first because you will come to Turkey and you will try to speak some Turkish. When people see that you're trying, they will be like, oh, that's really cute. And Turkish people will be always nice to you. So you will like that. You will like the attention. You will like that Turkish people, smile at you, like you. But after a while, it will get frustrating because you don't want to be treated as a kid all the time, right? You don't want people to have fun with you all the time. So it's gonna get frustrating. For example, renting a house will be very difficult. You will go to sahibinden.com. Sahibinden, if you don't know, sahibinden.com is the main website people go to rent or buy a house in Turkey. You will search for the houses. Then when you find a house that you like, you need to call the person, right? You need to call the landlord. But if you don't know Turkish, you won't be able to speak to them, right? That's why most people either get a real estate agent or they ask one of their Turkish friends to talk to landlords. And most real estate agents don't know English as well. But let's say that you asked help from a real estate agent. It's not easy too because landlords, the house owners in Turkey, they don't really trust foreigners. Because first of all, when they have a problem, when they need to talk to you, they don't know English, right? They cannot speak to you. That's the first problem. They don't trust you because you can literally go tomorrow, without any consequence. So they can't take much legal action towards you. If you go to your country, what are they going to do, right? So they're scared. That's why they are approaching very hesitant to renting their houses to foreigners. That's the first thing. You always have to ask favors from your Turkish friends. And that's fine at first. If you're doing this with your Turkish husband or Turkish wife, that's totally fine. They're going to do it happily. If you're asking favors from your Turkish friends or some Turkish person that you don't know well, it's going to get difficult after a while because they're going to be frustrated and you're going to feel like you're in debt. You're going to feel shy. You will not want to ask so many favors. So being dependent and relying on a Turkish person is really bad. Because how much you can rely on someone, right? It gets really frustrating after a while. For example, you're going to a hospital, right? It's going to be really difficult because most Turkish doctors don't speak English. Of course, you can find some doctors who can speak English, but it's going to be difficult. And they're probably more expensive. And then if you're going to government offices, that's going to be a nightmare. I'm sure if you have any friends, any foreign friends living in Turkey, they already told you this. I don't know how many horror stories that I heard from the government offices and their interactions with foreigners. If you don't speak Turkish, it's going to be real difficult for you because most of these government workers, they don't speak English. Even the government workers who deal with foreigners, right? You go to get your residence permit, for example, they don't speak English. So what are you going to do? You will either use Google Translate, you will either go with someone, who knows Turkish or a Turkish friend. And the attitude they have towards foreigners who know Turkish versus foreigners who don't know Turkish is so different. So that's another point. Okay, so the next point is working. Obviously, if you're working remotely at a different company, that's fine. You're working online. But if you want to get a job in a Turkish company, it's going to be really difficult for you if you don't speak Turkish. Because most employees in Turkish companies don't speak English. So why will they hire you if you cannot communicate with them? The second reason why they won't hire you is because it's really difficult to hire foreigners. They have to go through so many processes. They have to pay some amount of money to the government. They have to pay you a lot more than a Turkish employee to be able to hire you. So that's another point. So most foreigners that I see, they either work as an English teacher or they're a waiter or they're a waitress. It's relatively easier to get a job as an English teacher or as a waiter. But if you want to get another job, it's going to be real difficult. All of my foreign friends who work at Turkish companies, their Turkish is really good. Their Turkish is really good. So that's how they got their job. So the next point is subscriptions. Let's say you have rented the house, but now you need to connect the internet, you need to connect, I don't know, water, electricity. These are going to be difficult if you don't know Turkish. Again, you need to ask a favor from your Turkish friend. Let's say that you have connected that, but now there's a problem. It happens. You need to call the customer services. People don't speak English in the customer services. They say that they have like an English customer service, but when you get on the phone with someone, their English is really bad. So you cannot depend on, companies saying that, okay, we have English customer service. I know a friend, for example, she wanted to get Wi-Fi because she didn't speak Turkish well. I think there was a miscommunication between the staff member and her. So she got the wrong package. Instead of paying 200 lira a month, she paid, say, 800 lira every month. And she can't even cancel it because they got her signature. If you want to make new Turkish friends, it's going to be difficult as well because Turkish people don't know English. This is probably the fifth time that I'm saying this. Even if they speak English, they're very shy. They don't trust their English and they're very conscious about their English. You might not care about their pronunciation, you probably don't care about the mistakes they make, but they care. They're a bit perfectionist. That's why you will think that they're being cold to you. But the real reason why they don't want to talk to you or they're a bit cold to you is because they're conscious that you're going to judge them based on their English. It's a lot easier to make Turkish friends when you know Turkish because then they're a lot more comfortable with you and they can be relaxed. Getting ripped off, I think it's the same in almost every country. If you don't know the local language, it's a lot easier to rip you off, right? And people know that. Istanbul or Ankara, Izmir, these are very touristic cities. People know who they can rip off. I'm sure you heard some horror stories with taxi drivers in Istanbul, but that's not the only place you will be ripped off. If you know Turkish though, no one will do that to you because they know that you can complain about them. They know that you can go to the police and explain what happened. But if you don't know Turkish, they're like, okay, what can she do? What can he do? They will speak in Turkish and they will get out of the problem easily. This is something else too, having trust issues with people. When you don't understand Turkish and what people are talking, then you will have trust issues. You will always be thinking, what do they say? Are they talking about me? Are they saying something bad about me? It's going to give you anxiety. Imagine you had an occasion where you had an argument with a Turkish person. But now they're speaking Turkish, you don't understand what they're saying. Even if you speak English, they don't understand. So you're at a disadvantage there. And it's really bad. It feels really bad. I don't want you to be in that situation. Next point is talking on the phone, answering phone calls. This seems basic, but whenever you get a phone call, you will always be stressed. You will always be thinking, okay, who is this? Is it important? What are they going to say to me? Because even if you answer, now you won't be able to answer them. You will always ask your Turkish friends to pick up the phone and talk to the person. You will not understand the jokes or the Turkish culture. If you are with your Turkish friends, obviously they will have some jokes that are about the Turkish culture that you can only understand if you know the Turkish culture well. And it really sucks when you don't understand these because you feel like you're an outsider. So when you can understand this, it's a lot easier to connect with them. Every time you have an interaction with a Turk, you're gonna feel like it's gonna be awkward, because it usually is awkward. Whenever you talk to someone, either they will feel like they have to speak English, or you will get your phone, try to translate something. It's not like a normal conversation. Yes, it's fine if you do it once, twice, thrice, right? But it gets really frustrating after a while. And you want to have proper conversations, you want to have proper interactions. This might not seem important to you, but it's going to lead you not wanting to interact with people as much as you want. You will not want to be involved in, other occasions as well. Okay, so I know that you feel a bit overwhelmed maybe, and you might be thinking, okay, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do then? So I want to give you some of my suggestions. So the first thing you should do is to lower your expectations about Turkish people's English skills, because it's really worse than you think. Keep that in mind. It is worse than you think. And actually, don't expect anyone to speak English. I think that's the best mindset you can have if you're planning to live in Turkey. Don't expect anyone to speak English. If you expect that, then you will blame Turkish people. You will blame them for not knowing English. Yes, I wish more people spoke English. I will love that. And trust me, everyone is trying to learn English. Maybe this is the thing that Turkish people spend the most money, learning English. But it doesn't happen. So you can't do anything about it. That's why don't expect anyone to speak English. Don't believe people who say that you can live in Turkey without knowing Turkish. People will tell, especially Turkish people might tell you this because they don't experience this from first hand. If you speak to any foreigner, they will tell you the reality in a better way because they are the ones who experience it. Don't believe anyone who say that you can live in Turkey without knowing Turkish. It's not going to be fine. So the number one thing that will determine your quality of life in Turkey is knowing Turkish. Believe me when I say this, because I know from my wife. Before she knew Turkish, her life was much more difficult. After she learned Turkish, now she doesn't need me as much as she used to. She can speak Turkish with people on phone. She can order things. If there's any problem, she can explain what she wants. She can express herself. That's why her life got much better. And it's going to be the same for you. Invest in learning Turkish as much as possible and see how your life transforms. Again, this is the number one thing you should be investing if you're planning to move to Turkey, because it's going to help you the most. If you can speak Turkish, then you can make Turkish friends. Your life will be much easier and you won't have any, horror stories that I told you. And there are so many ways to learn Turkish. You can hire a private tutor, you can join a course, you can buy a book. But if you want to learn Turkish with us, we also offer a 3 months VIP program. It's called Turkish VIP coaching program. And you get one-on-one speaking sessions, you get coaching from your Turkish teacher, and you get homework. It's an intense program that helps you become conversational in Turkish, so you don't have any of the problems that I talked to you today. And you can watch some of the videos that we made with some of our students. For example, Julie, she became conversational in Turkish in 10 weeks. And Kate, she's learning Turkish because her son got married to a Turkish girl. That's why she is learning Turkish. And you can see how they're able to speak Turkish. But basically, if you want to learn Turkish with us, you can book a call with the link in the description. Click on that link and book a call with us so we can tell you how we're going to help you become conversational. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments below. Görüşürüz. Bye bye.